So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about SOYience-based lifting. All right, so I hope you're ready for today's lesson. I've created this PowerPoint just for you. Please take your seats, throw in a Zin, crack a white monster, get your notebooks ready because class is in session. The professor's here. We're talking about SOYience-based lifting, and you know it's going to be a real one because I got some pre-workout today. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what is science-based lifting. We're going to talk about the times that science has failed us before. And we're going to talk a little bit about the studies. And then I'm going to bring up what I believe is the Achilles heel of science-based lifting. And science-based lifting is, it's mostly about, the study. So they did a new study where they did this or whatever. This Achilles heel of science-based lifting, this is what invalidates every single science-based workout study, in my opinion. Okay? It's called the white monster effect. So let's get into it. What is science-based lifting? Science-based lifting can be boiled down to this. It is the appeal to authority fallacy. My opinion is backed by science, therefore it's right. I really don't have to explain it any more than that. I'm science-based, okay? So I'm right. I have a degree in whatever, physiology, whatever. Don't care. According to the latest study, don't care. Study this, okay? Study that. The best exercises, according to science. Did science tell you? Here's this is what science-based lifting is all about: being super condescending and constantly speaking with upward inflections. Have you noticed that science-based lifters, they use upward inflections, and this signals that they're not actually confident about what they're saying, and they're just kind of saying things that don't really make any sense and hoping that you believe them? Frank, why don't you just trust the science? Oh, before that, here's the other one that I get. Okay, it's, the thing is, all lifters are a little bit science-based. Okay, then why are you bringing it up? If all lifters are science-based, then no lifters are science-based. Okay, do you pick it up? Are you picking up on what I'm putting down? Why would you make the distinction? If all lifters are science-based, why are you saying you're science-based? The only reason that you're going to make the distinction is to create some sort of unearned sense of authority or superiority. So, Frank, why don't you trust that superiority of the science? Why don't you trust the science? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's get right into it. Here's why I don't trust the science. These are some previous times science got it wrong. Okay, mid-1800s, doctors didn't want to wash their hands. They just didn't want to. They thought they were above the practice of washing their hands because they thought they were too good for it, and there was no way that they were the cause of spreading germs. So I'm not gonna wash my hands. I'm not spreading the germs. And as a result, countless pregnant women and others died from infections from dirty hands. What else? I think a lot of people forgot that in this country, in the United States, not that long ago, doctors were prescribing and endorsing cigarettes, right? And it just like saying that out loud, people are just like, there's no way that that's actually true. There's no way that doctors would prescribe cigarettes, right? It's almost like they don't really, some, not all, some don't actually care what the result is as long as they're getting some extra moolah, right? It doesn't matter. Prescribed cigarettes in this country. Okay, what else? Radium as a health supplement. Eating radioactive material as a health supplement. As a result, countless radiation poisoning cases. Phthalimide prescribed to pregnant women, late 1950s. marketed as a treatment for morning sickness, caused thousands of birth defects. What about the famous food pyramid? Okay, the FDA created this food pyramid and pushed this out in the early 90s to kind of tell everybody, how much of your day should be, how much of you should eat of each different type of food. And it was completely messed up. It was completely backwards from what actually is healthy for you. And the creation of this food pyramid, it was heavily influenced by lobbying groups for different farmers. So they wanted to sell more of whatever crop. So they pushed those things to the top of the pyramid of how much you should eat. Or I think it was the reverse, whatever. You get it. Fluoride in the public drinking water. Okay. Because if you drink uncontrollable amounts of fluoride, especially if a lot of times the water doesn't even touch your teeth. Okay, so just drinking endless amounts of fluoride, this is going to help you have less cavities. Fluoride is also a neurotoxin. Okay, if you ingest fluoride on a tube of toothpaste, there's a poison control number from the fluoride. Okay, and why do we drink fluoride? Because it's a byproduct of aluminum manufacturing, and they needed something to do with it. It's too expensive to get rid of it. So they figure we'll just make everyone drink it. So this is about studies, right? Show me the study. Okay, I don't need a study to know that doing a lot of incline press will get you a big chest. There's just some things you just don't need a study for, right? I don't need a study that says doing rack pulls will build your traps. Show me the study. Study this, okay? Study this. This is meat. Look at this meat, right? Drink it in. Study it. Here's a scientific experiment I want you to try. For those who are still, maybe science is the way. Here's a scientific experiment for you. Ego lift 6 days a week and dirty bulk 4,000 calories a day, and see if your body changes. I think that's a pretty good experiment. Then you should give it a try. Okay, so the real problem. What's the real, you're not hurting anybody, Frank. What's the real problem? Yeah, you're right. Most science-based lifters, this is all for fun and games, okay? I don't really care if somebody wants to be a science-based lifter. It's fine. I hate to break through the fourth wall, but yeah, I don't really care. The problem is it's just an overemphasis on things that don't matter. And I think what you have is there's a lot of information being pushed, especially around on Instagram, and a lot of people are doing a lot of these exercises that they're being told this is the right way, and the people often pushing these workouts, they didn't use them to get to where they are now. They're just making them up, and a lot of times, this happened a lot in when I was doing real estate too. People in the fitness community will overcomplicate how simple fitness is so that they can sell you coaching, because that's kind of the point for a lot of this stuff. A lot of stuff, if you just look at the videos online, you go out to the gym and do them, whatever, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt you. But if I sit here and I complicate fitness to this crazy extent, we're oh, you need to do this weird exercise, and then they're I don't know, you need to buy all these stabilizer pieces to do these weird extensions, and you have to do everything at weird time intervals, and I make it sound super complicated, and then I say, oh, also, dude, I got coaching, $100 a month, where I send you all of it, $100 a month for my coaching. So that's kind of what happens a lot. And the thing is, it's super simple, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it doesn't have to be this complicated. You don't need a coach. You can do it without a coach. I believe in you. All right, so yeah, real problem. Just assuming that you know better than everyone else. You have some little guy go up to some giant, be you're doing those extensions wrong. Okay, cool. All right, but I read the study. So here's the other thing about studies, all these studies that they do, right? They're always citing study. They did this study where they checked the total muscle engagement of this exercise versus this exercise, or, doing who did, even stuff like, whatever, just a couple reps versus a lot of reps, things like that. Okay, so here's the variables that you cannot control in a study. Genetics, sleep, stress levels, level of effort, how hard someone is actually pushing their sets, activity outside of the gym. Maybe is somebody a construction worker? Are these all construction workers, or is this desk job people? Is that going to have an effect on the recovery, or maybe have an effect on their overall ability to get, to make more improvements? Maybe they were improving from something else. Diet. You can't. These studies are not controlling everyone's diets. Everyone's not eating the same thing forever when they're doing these diets. And then there's the white monster effect. And you're saying, okay, Frank, what's the white monster effect? The white monster effect is what invalidates every lifting scientific study. So here's what I want you to think, okay? So imagine they're doing a study. They're trying to see which whatever technique will get you the most gains, which one will get you to bench 315 first, right? So or 225 or whatever. What's going to get you to this benchmark first? And I want you to think, you got two people doing it, right? Imagine you're sitting there in the gym. One guy's a science guy. He's doing whatever the dorks are telling him. And then you got the other guy here, okay? And this has probably happened to you. You're in the gym. You turn on like some crazy song. You suddenly get energized, right? You grab a white monster. You pop that Bad Larry open. You start pouring it down your gullet, drinking it. And then Tom Platz comes out of the locker room and he's all veiny. And he comes over to you, and you're under the bar. And Tom Platz is just yelling over the top of you, sweating on you. He's like, drive, right? Drive. And you crush that weight, right? It was all monster energy and testosterone and Tom Platz yelling, one of your boys yelling at you. Somebody slaps you across the face. There are so many like extra physiological factors, like factors that, like up here. There's so many things in here that can make you lift a little bit more weight that I think that the amount that your mind, like the amount of difference that your mind can make is larger than like whatever margins they're testing for on these studies. Like, the difference between 1 rep versus 4 reps, right? I think that all the factors up here are going to make way more of a difference. In summary, what do? What does all this mean? So here's what you do. You train hard. Every time you go to the gym, try to train a little bit harder than you did last week, right? Try to go a little bit, not just sound like Coach Greg, right? But just, seriously, I think that's actually good advice. Try to just go a little bit harder than you went last week. Constantly try to improve your diet over time. I think it's impossible to just go from like somebody who eats terribly to suddenly, boom, you're a dieting pro. But I think dieting is also like a skill, right? So just continually work on your diet over time to make healthier choices, eating a little bit better, a little bit cleaner over time. And then actually prioritize your sleep. And I know not a lot of people do this, but actually prioritize your sleep. And see what amount of difference, what kind of difference you see by doing those things. I think it's going to be pretty big. I hope you enjoyed this pre-workout fueled rant. I'll see you in the next video.